Hey guys, it's Liz at Naked Mango. I wanted to film this brow lamination tutorial because it's my most popular service, and I thought I'd just do a little educational video on the steps involved as well as aftercare. When lamination is done right, it can be so transformational, not just for your look, but for your confidence as a whole. And honestly, my goal as a service provider is just to make sure you look and feel your best after leaving the treatment room every time. Okay, so my client Erin has been coming to me monthly for her brow services, and we've both been loving the results. Erin, if you're watching this, thanks for letting me film you. Before we get into the actual steps, I wanted to talk about what the service even is for anyone who doesn't know what lamination is. It's basically a way to reset the direction your brow hairs grow. So instead of your brows doing their own thing every morning, like going sideways, downward, or wherever they feel like, we are chemically restructuring the hair so it grows in the direction we style it. And it's the perfect low maintenance service since it really only requires you brushing them into place and hydrating them. I already cleansed the brows before we started filming, and I applied step 1, which is the lifting solution. During step 1, the job is to soften the internal structure of the hair. It's basically breaking down the bonds inside each strand so it becomes more malleable and flexible. And I let this sit on for a specific amount of time depending on how coarse or fine the hair is, since that's what determines how quickly it'll soften and process. This is also the step where precision really matters, because if it's under processed, the shape won't hold later on, and if it's left on too long, it'll over process and can weaken the hair over time. So even though it looks like I'm just applying a product and waiting, there's a lot that's happening at a structural level during this part. Okay, so I removed step 1 and now I'm applying step 2. Step 2 is what helps relink the internal bonds while the hair is being held in that lifted position. Once everything's removed, the hair settles into its new baseline pattern. And it's not rigid though, it can still move around from friction or even just a pillow at night. So you are required to brush it up in the morning. It's just rebuilt to sit in that new direction instead of its old one. So the timing depends on the client's hair texture. Erin's hair is fine to medium thick, so the timing here is a little different than it would be for someone with thicker brow hair. And that's honestly one of the biggest differences between a DIY kit that you do at home and coming to see a professional. If you time it wrong, you will either under process it, meaning it won't hold, or over process it, which can lead to dry or brittle hair strands. So during step 2, we want to position the brow hairs in the correct direction. You never want to brush the hair straight up because naturally the hairs don't go up in that direction. You really want to try to brush them at an angle that somewhat mimics the way they naturally sit. You also don't want to brush the hairs too often in this step because it can actually cause micro tears in the skin and make the skin a little bit more sensitive. So you really want to apply the solution, brush the hairs, get them into that shape that you want them, and then put the saran wrap over them and let them sit for the duration of the time. So today we added a tint and wax, which is what we usually do when Erin comes in. A wax is definitely a must. It's what gives you that defined finished look. And the tint really helps bring the brows back, especially since they can really lighten a bit during the chemical process. And a lot of times they go warm. So if you have more of a cool tone hair or maybe more neutral cool tone skin, then we want to tint your brows back to what is going to look good for your hair and skin tone. Sometimes after lamination, the tint can just look so bold because the brow hairs are much more porous and they really do not need the same processing time as a brow that hasn't been laminated. So you really don't need to leave the tint on as long, even just a minute or two. If you want to get that faded look, you want to do the tails first and then go into the front and just brush the tint in the front of the brow hairs versus maybe stamping it on in the tails to get that nice pretty faded look. I will say that the tint does fade quite a bit. It comes off the skin first and then will slowly fade off the hairs in the next couple weeks to few weeks. So before you go and book this for yourself, you do need to know about aftercare. For the first 24 to 48 hours, you really want to keep your brows dry, not because water affects the lamination itself, but because when you come in, I put a hydrating serum on after, and we really want that to soak into the brows for the next day or two. The nourishing treatment just really needs time to penetrate and hydrate the hairs. So don't sweat, don't go to the gym, no steamy showers, no sauna. Just let it sit and let the hydration do its job. Okay, so once the lamination, tinting, and waxing is finished, I like to go in with the Naked Mango Restore Serum and do a little brow massage. I feel like this feels so good, and the Restore Serum actually helps with hydration and it helps calm the redness post-wax. It's just a really amazing product post any brow service. And if you forgot what her brows looked like before, this is where started, and this is what they look like now. We have thickness, we have definition, and they're just so freaking pretty. If you haven't had a lamination yet, this is definitely your sign to go book one.